Well, hello, friends. Welcome back to another little tarot reading. Today, we're going to be focusing in on the sign of Gemini to see what's going on. That's right, Castor and Pollux, not too far away from our own solar system. Some bright stars shining out there in the sky, and I hope you're all taking a moment to appreciate all the beauty and the life around you in nature, in the stars, and deep inside oneself for inner peace, and that it's guiding you all on your way towards sustained happiness for a lifetime, right? That's our goal. I want to wish you all well and the best of happiness and prosperity at this moment in space and time. I want to thank you for being here. Thanks for everybody that stuck with me through a long hiatus, and we're back. Let's see what's changed. Well, what hasn't changed? Well, I don't know. I guess that's why we're looking to tarot to get some answers to see what's going on for Gemini for February or the very near future. It's not like necessarily just February. It could be the last few days of this month. Some of the messages go in. Whenever you're watching it is the right time for you to be viewing. So that's right, tarot. We want to know what's up for Gemini in the upcoming month or so. Please give us the cards of what Gemini needs to know so that we can get on with this reading and not too much chitter chatter from me. All right, let's get into it. We'll cut them deep and see how she goes, the way she goes. Energy at the bottom of the deck, the Hierophant. Wow, what a good card to have here. So some of you could be feeling very sure of your path at this time. I know it's weird. You're like, well, I need to know what's going on. So I'm here for a tarot reading, but you're telling me I'm sure of my path. This could be like where the higher self is sure, or there is good feeling around you where you're taking comfort in knowing maybe even that somebody at a distance is okay, or that you have done the right things to set yourself up for success. So the Hierophant here is saying, don't doubt it. Whatever you've put in place, whatever you have sort of done in the last little while, the Hierophant is saying that you've made wise, educated choices. And the energy that you're aligning to is those choices of wisdom. So maybe, you could be feeling on certain days unsure of yourself, but this is a reassuring card saying, don't worry about it because you've obviously taken some initial steps. You're backing it with whatever wisdom you have put forward into your decisions and into your relationships and projects at this time. So don't sweat the little things is what the Hierophant here in the big energy, overall energy is saying. And as we align to this, some of you could be in situations where you're continuing education, furthering a career or a promotion, perhaps for some of you, is not too far off, because it's almost, this card is like almost how other people are viewing you in a situation as well. You're being kind of seen as somebody whose intellect or whose wisdom has led to sustained or prolonged success. Even if you might not be feeling it, this is the energy that's coming along with your sign at this time. Okay, so we're going to leave the Hierophant up there and relate back to him as we come and go through the reading. Okay, day-to-day nitty-gritty. Here's the answer why you might be feeling unsure. Money could be very tight for some of you. You could be feeling the pinch of the economy, government shutdowns, things like that, uncertain of the future when it comes to the fiscal or the financial or the material world, which is a very tough place to be in. It's very easy to get in a mindset or locked into thinking of a fear-based or a lack mentality, which is what we want to avoid. Well, the Four of Pentacles is obviously saying there's no need to be sorrowful at this time, even though you might be feeling sad. But what it is a message to slow down in what you're doing. So for somebody, maybe you are well aware that you could be living beyond your current means or what your future forecasted means are if you are in transition between jobs. Or a situation here is maybe you've been banking on furthering career or a promotion. It just hasn't happened yet, and you're needing to hold off on big purchases, heavy spending, or giving money to loved ones at this time. It might be very difficult. Some of you could have kids in school and post-secondary education that are continually asking you for more resources, more finances, and it's getting very difficult. These loved ones, it's like you don't want to tell them no, but at the same time, you're looking at the bottom line and thinking, well, I might have more little ones here to, there's other people to consider, plus yourself and your own dreams here, where it's like you may have to have a tough stance and say, well, maybe I just have to work a little bit more before I can go back and take these classes, before I can go and do more schooling, or before I can, maybe send off another $100 to a son or daughter that might just be partying it away somewhere. You never know. That kind of situation. Gemini, it's tough to see this card up in your day-to-day living in life, but I hope that you all take some surety in knowing that you've always been able to make it work. You've always come through in times before. And when you feel those thoughts pulling you down into a lack mentality, or a place where there's worry or fear about resources or the material world, it wants to get you to get into that feeling like you've come through so much, you've put in so much that there's no need to. There should never be a feeling attached to your thought of lack or thought of there not being enough. The thought is okay to have, allow it to come and to go, but please don't allow any feelings to attach themselves to that thought that may be bringing you down at this time, okay? For some of you, this could just be something as simple as like a car trouble, or needing a repair done that just like is not fitting in the budget, or it was like an unexpected expense that's come up. And now you're worried, like, how do we circumnavigate it? How do we get around it? How do we make it all work? Rely on past successes. Rely on past tough times that you've been able to pull yourself through. And so that you get that confident feeling in your own resourcefulness going for you again. Okay? So, Five of Cups up here. So somebody could be deciding as well if they're better off on their own at this point in time. There might be decisions that people are making as to, did I do the right thing here by maybe cutting somebody off? Or am I doing the right thing by sticking to something that I am unsure of versus like walking away from certain things that could have been fulfilling you with more security, yet kind of limiting you in terms of your own personal growth. Again, we're looking back here to cards of having no regrets, because wherever you're at is to reposition you in alignment for your own personal growth, rather than complacency in certain securities that might have been okay at present time, but when you look into the future, they're not going to be able to serve you forever, or they're not going to be in place forever. So it could be one of those things. Maybe you've been renting for a long time, and it's like you have the opportunity to like do something else, or you may feel like you might be behind on a few payments to an option, and someone's saying, hey, you could come and live with me, or hey, you could give it all up and start a new life here. But it's very, very hard for you to let go of certain security, and there is feeling attached to it. It's not just thought. So this is very, very tough, Gemini. So the resourcefulness, some of you might be needing to tap into research in a literal sense about knowing if something or not is going to work for you on a practical level before you're making a decision to leave something that has been secure. And if you've already taken those steps, if you've already gone out on that limb and left whatever security you were holding on to behind, you've done the job of letting go. Now we need to make sure that we don't allow any fear or worry to come in at this point in time, so that you can remain on track and stay successful. So this is like somebody that's like working their way through university, working their way through college, or has had unexpected lawyer fees or insurance costs come up on something that they weren't accounting for. Don't give up. Don't drop everything and just say, I can't do it. These cards are saying, although the time is very tough right now, it is a place where you need to rely on self and through your own personal inner strength to get through this time. It's not easy for you. It's almost like somebody could have gone through a bad breakup here as well, and they could have gotten like the short end of the stick on a financial deal regarding it, like in a common law split or a divorce or that situation. Or there could be situations where somebody may be feeling guilty for the amount that they did take away from you or from a group at this time. It's almost like somebody had their fingers in the pie rather deep, and there could be some some guilty feelings associated with that, and I don't know where that's coming from. It's not my place to accuse you or do anything, but for somebody that's going to resonate heavily with, where it's like you need to let go of fear, you need to let go of guilt at this time, and remember that whatever is past is completely behind you now. Even if what you're looking at before you isn't very much, hold your head up high and be ready for the challenges as they come on the day-to-day level. If you break it down day to day, morning meditations, nightly meditations, the distant future or the near future will not be as worrisome to you as you're taking it one small segment at a time. It's like if you ever had like a big project, a work project, or something that just seemed so insurmountable, the technique that you use to get around that or get through it was to like, I'm just going to take it a little bit at a time. I can only handle what I can deal with in this allotted time frame. So you know what? I'm not going to worry about tomorrow. I'm not going to worry about next week, because living in the present moment is a huge theme that's coming in here to say, as long as we're okay today, we're happy, we're healthy, we're safe, we're warm. That's great, and that's where you need to be, and so that you can be inspired to maybe get some things down on pen and paper or get some research done, so that your certainty, when you feel yourself starting to think about the uncertainty of the future, that you can say, well, you know what, I've read through this, I've cataloged this, I've researched this and documented it, what I think I need to do, and you can always go back and revise that and then go out and live it on the day to day. And then it'll be like, because tomorrow never really comes, the future never really comes, it's only ever really today. And that's what these cards, I think, want to remind you of, that fact is that there will never be another today. So if we spend time with our mind outside of the present moment and today, really, what are we doing? We're wasting time. We're holding on to kind of like clingy feelings that aren't really serving us very well. Okay? All right, and somebody is definitely having to go through a letting go process. There's been a major life change for some Geminis in terms of your physical location, your workplace, your family structure. Like, again, I'm seeing like kids that are off to college, or even somebody that has like kind of returned or come back through the door after a certain number of years, and it's just like kind of maybe shaking things up on an emotional level and in terms of like family structure or your own personal regimented day-to-day life. It's like you may find yourself having to cater to somebody, again, who is in need of your assistance, but it's a bit more than you expected, or it's a bit more of a shakeup than what you were ready for. It's almost like as you're allocating your time and your resources, your heart is overflowing with giving and wanting to give, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, it's kind of like you are needing to take some time in your space for yourself to get back into a place of good inner feeling, so that the present moment and like the future we talked about, it's not so filled with this anxiety, worry, and guilt that I'm getting a sense of with these lower pip cards that are coming through on your reading. The Hierophant is still sitting up there saying, hey, Gemini, you know better. Hey, Gemini, you've walked this walk before. You've been down before, maybe even once or twice, and you've pulled your socks up. Or you might need to be the person that stops enabling somebody's bad financial decisions and make them become accountable to themselves or for themselves. That's another huge thing I think that a lot of you may be going through here. All right, because your heart's not really sure where to focus on. It's almost like I feel like as if it's been diverted. Like thinking is like, you may find some of your restful times you're so concerned about question A and question B and C are there, and then the next day you wake up and you kind of forget about question A and you go on to like worrying about thing B, thing number C, and it's like it feels as if the heart energy is a little bit scattered at this time. If it's a little bit fuzzy, it's a little bit grainy. So whatever you're set on, you got to make sure that your heart is letting go of the past to allow you to move through time and space to get to future goals, or even to align with them or define them at this time. It's like very strong on terms of proper intention setting versus just having like a goal that might be a little bit unattainable, or an expectation that you're just like you're not certain, or there could be too many other key pieces or people in the puzzle that would have to align in order for it to work. It's like you want to avoid having to plan for those kind of things, and remember that it is within you and it is you yourself that sets up the clarity for the heart direction, the heart focus, as it were, because when we have the thoughts about the future, the feeling that comes after that wants to attach itself to the thought, we want it to be a positive feeling. We want it to be one of encouragement, one of appreciation, and one of love, rather than one of confusion, one of uncertainty and those sorts of things. So it's very much being able to identify thoughts and align them clearly with the good feeling of the heart, because the heart is almost like calling out to me saying, I don't know which way to go. I don't know which side to lean to in terms of this situation. And I mean, that duality, Gemini, which is it's kind of seen in disdain, in the new age, like everything becoming one or becoming one with the universe, one with source. Duality is a very important part for our personal growth and for us to identify direction. And you guys have this. You've got this kind of built into your I don't know if it's DNA or just it's built into your essence, I think, where it's like you can become, and this is going to sound really weird, you can become at one with certain dualities or contrasts that exist in life and within yourself, so that it provides your internal compass and so that you know which way to go. So meditations of the heart, really getting into the feeling of what this means to you, or what that means to you, or what it could mean if this was the case, or what it could mean when you think, oh my goodness, I'm really at risk here of losing out, losing everything, losing this person, or I walked away from something that I should never have. I said words that maybe I shouldn't have. It's like very much so getting aligned with that heart energy so that you realize that this present moment is all that really matters. There's nothing going on in the past. There is nothing that can occur in the past to change things. And again, the future, it's a fiction of the mind as well, so that your heart can kind of express itself in the day or in the present moment. And then that in turn points your compass to the people, to the places, and to the direction. Maybe even for some of you, it's a book or it's a faculty of education that you need to be in or that you want to be in, so that you can improve things. And it might involve for some of you actually being receptive to assistance that's coming in outside of others. Some of you might be being a little bit stubborn at this time as well. And like again, with my readings, if your life is all hunky-dory, peaches and cream, it's probably not the reading for you, right? These are my readings. I don't care if I have, one subscriber or zero likes, as long as I've reached out and these cards have touched that one person, that's where I stand in the authenticity of the reading, no matter what kind of skies, what kind of news it is, all right? So I see somebody out there regretting a decision regarding a relationship or letting somebody go, and then kind of being hopeful that that person might return to you. And it's kind of like, if that is ever to be the case, or if that is your true hope, the cards are saying forget about it for now. You have to be able to let it go in order for it to ever have the possibility of coming back to you, and being sure within yourself if it is really what you want. Okay, so misplaced might not be the. Something's misplaced. Something is out of place here. You could be feeling like it's yourself. Like you might be walking through day-to-day life and be like, I don't recognize any of this. I don't feel as if like this is right for me. And it does happen from time to time, Gemini, where it's like you almost feel like a stranger in your own land, or the people around you that you've known for years, they could be acting very egotistical and out of sorts, and you're like, I don't recognize anybody or any of this behavior. Where is this all coming from? Am I even in the right family? Do I know these people? So this is why I'm thinking like going deep within and getting into some breathing exercises and really aligning an intention for your heart about you, not about other people. Other people will ebb and flow. They'll come and go. They're to and fro, right? But wherever you go, that's where you are. That's what how the old saying goes, and we can't change that. And what that really means is that you become the center. And we talked a little bit about that duality as a compass. It only works when you are within yourself as the center, and it's not selfish, it's not egotistical when it's done from a place of authenticity and from the heart. Okay, Gemini, I feel like I'm up on a soapbox preaching to you, but really it's just words flying out that are coming at this point in time. Communicate intentions with your family at this time and with those closest to you. And again, showing of appreciation. Somebody could be being a bit of a stick in the mud and not being appreciative of your role, your contribution at this time, yet you are feeling like you're the glue that's holding people together, holding a relationship together. Your overarching idea or intention towards a domesticated bliss, which is what the Ten of Cups has been the stronghold of, and you're kind of like the last bastion of like, are people like unconsciously like tearing at the seams of what you've put together over a great amount of years or a great amount of time. And it's like there's probably times where you absolutely feel fed right up. You're like, I'm enough of this. Enough is enough already. Without some sort of acknowledgement or without my heart being able to feel rewarded or in good place, why do I even do it all for everybody, right? Why do I even go to these lengths and these efforts for these people, right? Or if I let go of Steve to go be with John, it's like, why would you still be thinking about Steve? You've set your intention on John. If there's a regret there, if you feel like you need to shift back or change, voice those impressions, make them known. It's okay to make mistakes as we wind on down the road in our feelings of love. And in our relationships, it is a part and parcel for that growth once again, Gemini. But it's like we can't half step at this time because it won't lead to this. And we need to voice this to the people in our lives, whether for that person where it's like your kid requesting more resources or somebody requesting all of your time. You need to voice like, okay, I'm willing to put this forward, but you know what? When it's time for all of us to like gather around the table and have dinner, I expect a certain level of respect and appreciation, because if it's not there, then there's no point in me handing out my hard-earned time and money to people who are just going to run the other direction with it, because that's not the original intention that you set. And if you're between relationships, for that person out there that's regretting a decision that they made in terms of a relationship, don't worry too much. This is more about acknowledging to source, like, it's okay, I'm human, I make mistakes, and if what I have done has caused something to come to pass which I cannot return to, you will need to learn to be okay with it, a point of acceptance or a position of acceptance in order for the completion or that fulfillment to come. We've got a lot of cups up here on the board. So it's going to be an emotional February into early spring for some of you, because you're working through the emotions that are attached to your thoughts. And if your thoughts are not aligned with, say, happiness or understanding, because you've got so many factors and people pulling at you from side to side, you have to be very careful of these thoughts, of these feelings that have attaching themselves to the thoughts coming up and pulling you down, pulling you into any kind of funk, any kind of bummerama type situation, right? The Ten of Cups is here. It's a positive situation, and it's showing up in the element of ether and in your throat chakra. Okay, so this is something where with your definition and with that moral compass, if this is truly your goal, if at some point along your life path you had children and that caused a 10, 20-year hiatus in following your dreams to maybe go live as a beatnik out in Paris or whatever it might be, and you haven't been able to go and climb the Great Wall and then do the Icky Shuffle over in Egypt, maybe now is a time where it's like you're realigning those thoughts to be like, you know what, maybe you got some older children, maybe you got an old man sitting at home who he's going to be okay for 4 and 5 months while you go out and live your life, and you don't have to question it, because you might be viewing it like, if I were to make a move, if I were to do something extravagant for myself, it might shatter this illusion of what people think I am in terms of the solidity that I provide in their life, where it's like, if you're not out there living your dreams and living your truth and your happiness, then it's all for naught, and you will feel it in your happiness. So it might be just a thing where it's like you got to clearly communicate to somebody, in order for us to be happy, I've got to get myself into a healthy, better place. I've given you what I've given you, and maybe you might cap it off with one more, like here's a push of resources, and say, okay, now that you have this, you need to make something of it. You need to go and do what you say you're going to do with that. Or if it's a matter of time, it's kind of like you teach a man to fish, right? I've shown you what to do. I've shown you how to cook potato au gratin. So now if that's what you want for dinner, you know how to make it. You know how to get in the kitchen and cook it up, right? I'm going down to be with my friends, or to hop on a plane and go get on a sunny beach down in Mazatlan or wherever it might be, right? So that happiness can be pervaded and continue to shine through you. Because in essence, at the end of the day, if you're the well that everybody comes to become nourished and have their thirst quenched, one day that well runs dry. And the metaphor here is like you're the well, but your happiness is the water within the well. And the bucket is kind of like their hands or their hungry mouths or whatever it might be coming to do that, right? So accept some outside help if it's there, and get people to rely on themselves who have really been attaching themselves to you over this last little bit. That was a lot for a straight up positive 10 of Cups card to come out. But it's just in an interesting spot in the reading, like where it appears above this resource thing, where emotionally you could be like overflowing. And yeah, I'm going to leave it at that because, wow, 10 of Cups is a huge energy in this reading. So yeah, because I think Spirit knows it. I think somebody realizes like, hey, you're right. It's unfair, or it seems out of place. And that returns with this card. Like something is amiss. Something is out of place for you. I don't know if you lost your car keys, or if you got something, or if you're trapped a few hundred miles from home and you need to find a way to get there, or maybe you got a loved one that's some way and it's just like you don't know what you need to do. Something's amiss. But with the reverse on Justice card here is like, you've got to make it right. Excuse me. I'm feeling a little bit verklempt as this comes up inside, because this is deeply emotional for somebody. And it's like, maybe you needing closure on a relationship. There's a sense of regret and guilt that pops up here again as well, again with something being amiss. And it could just be this confusion going on with the heart again that needs to be clarified. There needs to be some closure, some finishing words in a relationship where the chapter has come to an end. And again, when we look at this energy here, it's like somebody knows that they need to pull themselves up to a point where appreciation can be both received and given in terms of a situation. It might be a situation where it's like, if you're fighting with someone, if you got something in small claims court, or you've got that unexpected expense that's come up and you're not sure how to work a way around it, this card is saying like maybe a few kind words, or approaching this from a different standpoint, could save you like time and money in the long run. There might be an easier way around your query, your question, or the problem that you've come here with today. There could be a very simple solution that you haven't seen yet, and it comes through like having just an integral connection with the person on the other side, with the person that you need to find this closure with, or you need to come to this agreement with, so that prosperity and feeling good again can keep on going and keep the good times rolling, as it were, right? Because yeah, look here, somebody is not changing their ways. Something has not changed, and I think that's what's amiss here. I think Source and the overall energy is asking you to align with a position of emotional intelligence and being able to take what's yours in regards to the realms of the etheric happiness and bliss around you. But something is remaining unchanged or unchanging that is long overdue for change. We see the Death card in reverse. This always brings up that library book that's like 4 years overdue, and it's like you get that email every once in a while, be like, are you bringing back Treasure Island back to Central Library? And you're like, oh my god, I don't even know what happened to that book, right? That's almost like this happening with a person, you may have been enabling somebody to go down like what seems like a very innocent and not harmful slippery slope, but now you could be looking back at it and being like, oh wow, holy crap, this person really has become stuck in their ways, or they really have become a bit of a wedge in my sandwich or a block in my road, in terms of me not being able to go out and live my best life. Because maybe the complacency has come from a point where you had at some point enabled that within that person, okay? That's not an easy message to deliver, and some of you might just be slamming down the phone on me right now being like, you are crackerjack, this isn't, but it is. I mean, it's funny, sometimes the things that we're most opposed to are the things that we need to look at on the most subtle level to realize, holy, maybe there is a bit of outside help here that is available, or somebody needs to become awake. We could be just looking at a situation where we have a partnership where one person is woke and the other person is still just doing the go to work, have a beer, go to sleep, that kind of thing, where it's like you really want them to liven up, become in the moment, socialize again, go dancing again, where it's like you might just be following that same routine, like TV dinners and whatever, King of Thrones or whatever, night in and night out, and you might just be over it, kind of thing, right? Okay, now we've got Page of Pentacles reverse. I always get this one last card here to bring balance to this reading, to get a better sense. The Page of Pentacles reverse is here to say it might be time to tighten up the purse strings. It might be time to tell somebody no forthrightly, like, you've taken too much. It's time for you to fend for yourself. Like you say, you teach a man to fish, he'll be full forever. You keep giving them fish, and one day you're going to be out of fish, right? Like that kind of thing. The Page of Pentacles is, don't be afraid to say no sometimes. What's yours, you've worked hard for, you've built it up. It's your choice of whether or not you want to tear it down or you want to keep building it up. It's your choice whether you want to keep it away or keep it away, give it away or keep it tucked close to your heart. It's not somebody else's choice, but you're so loving, Gemini. You are so loving and so giving that I can see how, it could be very easy for the heart to become clouded and you to just like give and give and give, and then you spend those odd times thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to make it work, how am I going to make ends meet, when you're really waking up to, hey, what's fair is fair. And it seems like you're like the architect of this Ten of Cups right here. You've built this, or you've worked towards building this. So why would you let somebody take away from that? While you're putting bricks on top, they're taking bricks out from underneath the foundation. And eventually, like this, instead of this, you'd end up with the Tower card for it all being ready to fall over. Hard messages here. Big energies. But I want you guys to stay strong. I want you to get that clarity in your heart. I want you to do the inner research and the outer research for yourself and hold that head up high and put yourself first, for crying out loud. Okay? Do it. See how it feels. Even if you just do it in a hypothetical, how would that feel? I think you might find a little bit of inspiration in that. Okay, Gemini, thanks for your time. We'll see you again really soon.